Introduction. This book is about how to get value from meetings, period. I'm not going to start in the usual manner by providing commonplace information about how meetings are a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. You can look elsewhere for that kind of information. Obviously, there are many rehashed negatives about meetings. But why focus on the negatives? What about the positives? Meetings, any kind of meeting, represent opportunity. And where there's opportunity, value is available to be unlocked. When you view meetings as unnecessary evil, you would neither see nor exploit the hidden opportunities. There's no debate. You would be involved in very many meetings, whether you would like it or not. You might as well roll up your sleeves and optimize your involvement. This book would give you implementable strategies for excelling at meetings. I'm suitably qualified to share these 70 personal meeting strategies. I've been organizing, attending, participating, and leading meetings in multiple continents for over 2.5 decades. I've held a meeting and led discussions with the president of Nigeria at the State House, Aso Rock. I've been in meetings in various capacities with top CEOs, directors, government ministers, billionaires, multimillionaires, and the list goes on. I've seen the best and, oh yes, the worst of meetings. I have, in the process, learned so much, and I am ready to share. This book has no fluff or fillers. The book goes straight to the point. The 70 personal strategies have been boiled down to convey the point as precisely as possible. I recognize that time is a scarce resource, and I want to optimize your reading time. I challenge you to immediately apply the personal strategies for excelling at meetings. I also urge you to share the strategies with others. They are practical and proven. They work. They would lead you to value. Remember this, even good meetings can be better. Enjoy. Billy Andrew Odom, Pau, Pyrenees Atlantiques, France. Chapter 1. The first 20 tips. Meetings are at the heart of an effective organization, and each meeting is an opportunity to clarify issues, set new directions, sharpen focus, create alignment, and move objectives forward. Paul Axtell. 1. Be prepared. Go into a meeting knowing fully well what the issues, objectives, and outcomes are or should be. Organize yourself with adequate information to enable you to contribute effectively, influence outcomes, and justify your presence and time at the meeting. Exhaustively reading up all the papers for consideration, for instance, is a good meeting preparation practice. Preparedness for a meeting cannot be faked. If your preparedness is poor, it would show, and your assessment by others would be diminished. Persistent poor preparedness for meetings is personal and professional suicide. Very well-prepared participants add significant value to meetings and to themselves. 2. Listen. Pay careful attention at meetings. Listen to what is being said and also to what is not being said. Meetings drive 95% of participants to daydreaming, making them present only in body and not in mind. Lost opportunities, failed responsibilities, unnecessary long arguments, weak buy-in, and poor follow-up have their roots in poor listening at meetings. 3. Participate. Effective meetings require the active and constructive participation of the attendees. You would help the meeting to achieve its objectives and yours if you actively participate. You participate by exchanging information, providing ideas, constructively reviewing positions, listening actively, diligently playing your meeting role, giving counsel, testing assumptions, and sharing a point of view. Get involved and participate. 4. Pay compliments. Be generous in paying compliments and sincerely commending meeting participants. Commend good practices. Commend good ideas. Commend good behavior. Commend brilliant suggestions. Commend recorded successes and commend points of view, even if not in alignment with yours. Commendation creates a positive and pleasant meeting atmosphere. Prerequisites for meeting effectiveness. 5. Catch your ideas. Be open to great and usually disguised ideas in meetings. Ideas spring up frequently in meetings. If you pay close attention, you would pick up quite a few. These discerned ideas would help you in matters that may not even relate to the objectives of the meeting. Ideas on management, business opportunities, meeting skills, risk avoidance, wealth creation, and more flow in meetings. The quality and quantity of possible ideas generated at meetings are almost limitless. Each meeting you attend can generate life-changing ideas. You only have to look out for them, record them in writing, and explore the opportunity. 6. Provide ideas. One of your unwritten responsibilities is to provide the meeting with good ideas. An idea in this case is any thought or suggestion as to a possible course of action. What are your thoughts and suggestions? Think through your ideas and convincingly present them to the meeting. The more good ideas you provide, the greater the likelihood of the meeting achieving its objectives with your ideas. Also, people with good ideas get invited to the right meetings and, consequently, receive the right appreciation and favorable exposure. 7. Take notes. Discussions go very fast in meetings. One of your responsibilities as a participant or meeting leader is to note down key points made in meetings for your records and follow-up action. Taking notes is an enhanced level of listening. You should take detailed notes, whether or not the meeting has a secretary who is responsible for taking minutes of the meeting. You should have a good quality notebook dedicated for taking notes in meetings. This notebook would serve as your single point of reference for meetings. Loose sheets of paper won't cut it, as it smacks of unseriousness. Even better, you can go paperless and use a digital device. 8. Do not interrupt. It's a good practice to allow the other meeting participant to finish speaking before you respond. Why? 1. This forces you to really listen and pay attention to what is being said. 2. It's an act of courtesy and respect. 3. You would now be entitled to speak without being interrupted. Interrupting is actually rude. Interruptions, especially if frequent, can put off anyone and lead to an unwillingness to contribute. Never interrupt. 9. Speak on what you know. Stay in your area of expertise during discussions. Of course, you can make comments and suggestions on most matters that are not within your sphere of competence. However, you should not come across as a know-it-all, because you simply do not know it all. Speak firmly and authoritatively on what you know, and defer, with reason, to experts on what you do not know. This is especially important if you're leading the meeting. Many poor decisions are rooted in discussions carried on by people who deliberate with half-knowledge on issues. 10. Ask questions. If you don't understand, ask a question. If you want more information, ask a question. If you are in doubt, ask a question. If you want to probe further, ask a question. If the right answers are missing, ask questions that would lead to clarity and understanding. Questions are easy to ask. Do not leave the meeting without asking the right questions. Is your meeting asking enough questions? 11. Be courteous. Courtesy is the sincere act of showing politeness and respect in one's words, attitude, and behavior towards others. Be polite with your words. Be polite with your attitude. Be polite with your behavior. People can read discourtesy from a mile away. Be at your best in meetings. Say the right words, act the right way, Think politeness and respect at all times. Do this even if it is not reciprocated. Be impeccable. 12. Do not be late. Plan to be at any meeting at least 15 minutes early, or at worst, 5 minutes early. Punctuality, as you have heard, is the soul of business. Coming late to any meeting is unacceptable. Scheduling the meeting already has huge costs in terms of time, energy, and money. Accommodating additional time for latecomers is a huge and unnecessary waste. Furthermore, coming late, even with good reason, diminishes your character and may affect how you're perceived for the rest of the meeting. If you're going to be late, call ahead of time and inform the meeting leader, organizer, or other participants that you would arrive late to the meeting. Also, advance very good reasons for being late. 13. Summarize your understanding. At intervals during the meeting or after a real heated debate or exchange of views, the final position should be verbally summarized. The periodic verbal summarization brings everyone on the same page and also presents an opportunity to further clarify or review the understanding until a clear final position is reached. Furthermore, summarization helps to refocus the discussions and prevents it from straying into unknown territory. Any dissenting position should also be noted in the summary. Take the lead and summarize your understanding of what's been discussed. 14. Follow up. The meeting's not over when the meeting is over. The decisions from the meeting have to be achieved. You have to follow up with others and yourself to ensure that the decisions taken at the meeting are fully implemented in line with the agreed timelines. Where post-meeting actions are not taken, the meeting is impotent and should not have been held in the first place. 15. Leave your devices behind. Meetings require concentration. All forms of distraction should therefore be eliminated. An effective strategy is to ban all communication devices from the meeting room. Laptops, tablets, mobile phones, etc. should be kept off and left outside the meeting room. Only devices required for the meeting should be allowed. Make it your personal rule to switch off your devices and focus on the meeting. 17. Improve the agenda. Meetings are driven by the agenda. You're not bound to follow the agenda, it's a guide. If the agenda is weak, incomplete, unclear, too lengthy, too brief, or simply requires strengthening, you are at liberty to improve it or recommend to the meeting that the agenda should be improved. Always take a good look at the agenda and satisfy yourself that it would take the meeting to its agreed destination. If not, take steps to improve the agenda before or during the meeting. 18. Lighten up the meeting. A bit of humor can be used to lighten up the meeting. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. What would make the meeting participants laugh or smile or generally lighten up? This does not mean making fun of anyone. This does not also mean laughing at someone's errors. It simply means that the meetings should not be so tense and stressful as to rob it of its humanity. Ease the tension periodically. 19. Prayer. Open the meeting with a prayer. Close it with a prayer. A prayer is a solemn request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God. As the meeting leader, you can open the meeting with a prayer or call upon anyone to pray, or you can request for a minute's silence so that everyone can pray in his or her own way. Any option is good, as long as the prayer is sincere. Prayer unlocks God's blessings on the meeting, its participants, and the meeting's outcome. It also creates an atmosphere of peace. 20. Seek clarification. Drive ambiguity and uncertainty from every meeting by seeking clarification. Clarify what's been said. Clarify what would be done. Clarify when it would be done. Clarify how it would be done, and clarify who would do it. Clarify everything. Nothing is worse for the meeting than everyone leaving with a different understanding. If the clarification is unclear, seek further clarification until it is crystal clear. Chapter 2. The second 20 tips. When you go to meetings or auditions and you fail to prepare to fail. It's simple but true. Paula Abdul. 21. Take responsibility for your deliverables. Take responsibility for your deliverables. Effective meetings result in deliverables being created and assigned to someone for implementation within a reasonable time frame. Where these deliverables are not realized due to failure to take ownership, the meeting is negatively set back in terms of cost, energy, and time. Take your deliverables seriously. Create an aggressive personal action plan to deliver on your meeting assignments. 22. Make sure it's legal. Be alert to the issues being discussed at the meeting and walk on the right side of the law. A meeting to discuss the commission of a crime is a crime. It's your duty to point out and excuse yourself from any discussion that you clearly understand is not in line with the laws, policy, or regulation. If there's any doubt, you may request for the discussions to be deferred in order to consult widely. Many have gone to jail for participating, either knowingly or unknowingly, in a meeting that resulted or could have resulted in the perpetration of a crime. 23. Distractions should be removed. A distracted meeting is an ineffective meeting. Anything that would distract meeting participants from focusing at the meeting should be eliminated or significantly reduced. Distractions could result from an open door, unrestricted movement in and out of the meeting place, a TV being on, a radio being on, an open window, loud discussions in an adjoining room, etc. So, closing the door, restricting movement, switching off the TV, turning off the radio, requesting for a reduction in the noise level in the adjoining rooms would lead to a reduction in distraction and an enhancement of the level of focus at the meeting. 24. Observe the ground rules. The larger the meeting, the more the need to set ground rules so that everyone is on the same page. Ground rules are like operational guidelines for the meeting. They may include time restrictions, mode and manner of contributions, questions and answer style, restriction of use of communication devices, break times, and much more. The important thing is for the ground rules to be clearly articulated and advised to all meeting participants at the onset and to secure their respective buy-in and compliance. The meeting leader's responsibility is to enforce compliance of the ground rules, while the meeting participants' responsibility is to comply with the ground rules. This, above all things, creates order, a prerequisite for an effective meeting. 25. Advance your points in an organized manner. Think through your ideas, write it down, arrange and rearrange it well, and then deliver with precision as articulated on paper. This process gives your presentation or contribution a sense of order and the power of conviction, which is required for persuasion. Think, write, arrange, rearrange, and speak. That's the order to follow. A good strategy is to advance your points in twos or threes. For example, I have 3 comments to make on this matter. 1, 2, 3. 26. Be convincing and provide supporting information. Supporting information helps to strengthen your point of view. Supporting information includes, but is not limited to facts, quantitative data, testimonials, professional reports, expert opinion, etc. Your presentation should have these authoritative fillers. It becomes quite difficult to win arguments against you if you've done your homework and you have at hand supporting and convincing information. 27. A meeting is an opportunity. An African proverb says that when you climb to the top of the palm tree, do all that you can while up there so that you don't have to climb up again. Every meeting is a gold mine of opportunities, resources, contacts, relationships, learning, information, and more. It's your responsibility to create value for and extract value from the meeting. No one would do it for you. What value can you create and add to the meeting? What value can you identify and extract from the meeting? Answer these questions, and you're halfway to taking full advantage of the opportunities that the meeting presents. 28. Seek to understand before being understood. Everyone wants to be understood. No one likes to be misunderstood. Indeed, we want to be understood so well that we can't wait to get it off our chest and, in the process, fail to understand the other person. Do not be in a hurry. Wait. Be patient. Understand what's being said and what is not being said. Listen very well. Your opportunity to speak would come soon. For now, seek first to understand before being understood. 29. Provide clarity on your position and reduce ambiguity. Do not assume that you've been understood. It's been proven that what you say and how you say it can be open to numerous unintended interpretations. Your role at meetings is to ensure that you're clear in what you are communicating and that you're not being misunderstood. Sentences commencing with the phrases, "In other words, what I'm trying to say is," or "to be clear," are to be used when trying to provide clarity. 30. Stay on point. Do not stray. In discussions and debates during meetings, there's a strong tendency to go on and on until the main issue under discussion is lost. Stay on point. Do not say more than is reasonably necessary. Use numbers, bullet points, short, relevant examples, or illustrations, and above all, seek to be brief. When the point has been made, move on to the next point. As a meeting leader or participant, a long, windy discussion that's gone off point can be brought to an end by saying, "I think we should come back to the key point of this discussion, which is..." Effective meetings do not allow discussions to stray. 31. Admit ignorance with a view to finding out. No one knows everything. It is possible to be an expert in one area and completely ignorant in another area. It's also possible to have limited or no knowledge at all of a specific subject matter in your area of expertise. There's no shame whatsoever in any of these situations. If a situation arises in a meeting and you're asked for information or an opinion in a matter that you do not have knowledge of, admit it and make a commitment to revert with an informed position as quickly as possible. This is far better than making the fool of yourself by trying to appear knowledgeable. Pretending to know by faking it could seriously backfire. 32. Mind your manners. Manners maketh a man. Manners mean your outward personal behavior towards others. Manners may be good or bad. Good manners are a must if a meeting is to be effective. Saying, "Please," "Thank you," "Excuse me, please," "I'm sorry," and similar phrases are hallmarks of courtesy, respect, and polite behavior. Do not use or direct condescending, insulting, or abusive verbal or body language on anyone. Conduct yourself in a prim and proper manner at all times. For example, sit up straight. Chew with your mouth closed. Don't pick your nose. Don't interrupt. Cover your mouth when you sneeze or cough. Keep your hands to yourself. Treat people with respect, and always be polite. Good manners matter in meetings. 33. Be dressed appropriately. Dress in the manner you wish to be addressed. Like it or not, positive or negative impressions are conveyed with your appearance. Dress neatly, conservatively, appropriately, and comfortably. Follow the written or unwritten rules of dressing in your organization. Do not allow your appearance to be distractive, unpleasant, and offensive. Invest in, rather than just buy, good quality clothes and accessories. Make an effort to be sharp and look your very best in meetings. 34. Organize your impromptu responses. Many occasions will arise in meetings where you have to provide impromptu responses. Your impromptu response, if not delivered coherently and impressively, would affect how you're perceived at the meeting. Pause and give some thought to your intended remarks, and carefully deliver with precision. Use the PRO formula as appropriate. State the point, state the reason, and restate the point. 35. Have your own agenda. All effective meetings usually have an agenda. Where there's none, it's usually a problem. Irrespective of the meeting's agenda, you should have your own agenda. What do you personally want to achieve with the meeting? What results do you expect from the meeting? How would you use the meeting as a vehicle for achieving your objectives? What outcomes would be most beneficial to you or your team and your organization? Answer these questions, and you would come up with your personal meeting agenda. The next step is to do your utmost to achieve your agenda, as no one is going to do it for you. 36. Know when to keep quiet. Meetings involve talking. There are, however, times in the meeting where silence is golden and talk is cheap. Be quiet when you have nothing to say, or what you would say would not add further value to the discussions. Use your quiet time to think, catch your notes, observe, and listen. Talking too much can land you in hot water or corner you into a position that's difficult to get out of. Talking too much may also diminish the perception and quality of your contributions. Colleen Hoover said that sometimes not speaking says more than all the words in the world. How true. 37. Don't win an argument and humiliate anyone in the process. Debates occur frequently in meetings. Almost everyone has a point of view, and there is the probability of conflict of views and ideas. Go ahead and advance your position as coherently and persuasively as possible. As you do this, make sure you acknowledge respectfully the other opposing ideas and positions. Present respectfully what, in your opinion, are the shortcomings of the other opposing ideas and positions, but never resort to making anyone look bad and foolish in the process. Win your debate with a lot of respect, courtesy, and consideration shown to the other side. 38. Be independent in your thinking and convey professionalism. You're at a meeting to contribute and express your views. This is a fundamental right that you have. The meeting is not a platform for just licking boots and eye service. Articulate your independent thoughts and advance them. If you're a professional, make sure your views are aligned with your professional experience and know-how. 39. Take sensitive issues or discussions offline. There are some discussions or issues or matters that often arise in the course of a meeting, which, if discussed openly, could lead to unintended consequences. Such matters are best taken outside the meeting for offline discussions. Where the matter is for private consumption, could reveal confidential information, or could be extremely sensitive to parties present or not present, the matter should be carefully taken out of the meeting for a more private discussion by the concerned parties. 40. Be prepared to give a credible account of your deliverables from previous meetings. Effective meetings should produce deliverables that would be reviewed at subsequent meetings. If you have a task arising from the last meeting, ensure that you deliver on the task and present a performance report at the next meeting that demonstrates that the task has been achieved 100%. If the task has not been achieved, be prepared to present a convincing performance report demonstrating precisely where you are on the tasks and the steps you're taking towards completion. Chapter 3. The third 20 tips. When leaders know how to lead great meetings, there's less time wasted and less frustration. We have more energy to do the work that matters, realize our full potential, and do great things. Justin Rosenstein. 41. Do not show off. No one likes a show off. Meetings are not for showing off. They're platforms for the exchange of ideas, for taking decisions, for communicating, for planning, and for presenting information. Meetings are serious platforms upon which the careers of serious-minded attendees have been made or marred. Showing off at meetings is not a good strategy. It is a poor one and should be avoided. Besides, show-offs are never taken seriously. You want to be taken above else seriously in every meeting you attend. Bruce Lee rightly said, "Showing off is the fool's idea of glory." 42. Be brief. Don't hog the microphone. Don't hog the conversation. Don't excessively loathe the sound of your own voice. There's wisdom in being brief and precise. Go straight to the point. If you have to give a background to the point, be brief in presenting the background. The talkative is not loathed or liked. The talkative actually annoys people. You should aim for a low percentage of the talk time in every meeting. When you speak, let it be clear, qualitative, and brief. Don't be a chatterbox. William Shakespeare said that men of few words are the best men. 43. Focus. Meetings, even with precise agendas, if not controlled, have a tendency to derail. When a meeting derails, its objectives are unattained. All hands have to be on deck to make sure the meeting remains focused on the issues derived from the agenda. Where issues not connected to the agenda arise, they should be parked for consideration at another meeting or towards the end of the meeting, by which time the main matters arising from the meeting's agenda would have been fully considered. Focus means staying on point with regards to items connected to the agenda and deferring matters that are not connected to the agenda to a later time or another meeting. 44. Hear what is not being said. According to Peter Drucker, the most important thing in communication is to hear what is not being said. In other words, it's not just what is said that is important. How was it said? Who said it? Why was it said? You get the picture. Leave nothing to the superficial. Dig deeper in your observation and answer questions, and you would hear what is being said as well as what is not being said. People most times say what they mean and also say what they do not mean. It's your duty to spot the difference by digging deeper. You really should read in between the lines. 45. Watch and control your body language. In face-to-face communication, what you say represents less than 10% of the message that is conveyed. In other words, your body language conveys a lot more than the words you speak. You can convey keen interest or disinterest, solid confidence or the lack of it, excellent etiquette or the lack of it, contagious enthusiasm or the lack of it, a positive or negative attitude, willingness or unwillingness, etc., with your body language. Your body language is being read constantly. The shifting of your eye, the raising of your shoulders, the nodding or shaking of your head, the tightness of your lips, the tapping of your foot, the folding of your arms, the look on your face, etc., all say something. It's important that your body language conveys your intended meaning and is in alignment with your verbal communication. 46. Do not sleep. The meeting requires your complete attention. You can only do this with your eyes open and your mind fully alert. It's a complete and definite no-no to sleep at meetings. Sleep at home. Get all the rest you can before the meeting. Leave sleep behind as soon as you walk into the meeting. A sleeping meeting participant is, to say the least, humiliating himself and embarrassing the meeting. The consequences of being caught sleeping in a meeting is too grave to mention. It's best practice to avoid sleeping in meetings. Don't even close your eyes. 47. Justify your presence and time with your contribution and participation. You have to justify your presence at the meeting. You did not come to the meeting to warm the chair or sign the attendance book. You're there to contribute and participate. You're there to make your presence felt. You're there to influence the outcome of the meeting. Your time and presence at the meeting comes at a significant cost. The benefit of your presence and time should exceed the cost. Your preparedness for the meeting would put you in a position to effectively contribute and participate. 48. Steer the meeting towards results and outcomes. Intended results and specific outcomes from meetings are achieved with intensive, coordinated effort and are not the results of unplanned thinking and actions. If you desire a particular meeting result or outcome, you have to work towards this before, during, and after the meeting. The first step is to articulate what you want. The second step is to create a plan around the objective. The third step is to secure the resources that would help achieve the objective. The fourth step is to execute. Heraclitus said it this way: big results require big ambitions. 49. Inspire respect. Meetings give you FaceTime opportunities and the platform to inspire respect. You can inspire respect with your conduct, choice of words, approach to issues, speaking skills, debating skills, presentation skills, thinking skills, analytical skills, ideas, etc. In the same manner that you inspire respect, you can also inadvertently invite disrespect. Be mindful of this and seek to inspire respect from the meeting participants. If you are respected, you can wield influence and have your contributions receive favorable consideration. 50. Use templates. Meetings are as old as mankind. Over the years, numerous templates have been developed to make meetings effective. There are templates for notice of meeting, agenda, minutes, extracts of minutes, presentations, action plan, decision notification, meeting packs, reports, attendance register, meeting guidance notes, order of proceedings, and more. You can use these templates to guide and transform your meetings into outstanding and effective meetings. In other words, do not fly blind. Use templates and create brilliant meetings. 51. Work on your presentation skills. Meetings are platforms for the presentation of information. Many meetings have been spoiled with poorly made presentations. Many individuals have had their careers made or marred with the quality of their presentations at meetings. Making excellent presentations is a skill that is learnable. Learn the fundamentals of making effective presentations and deploy this career-enhancing skill at meetings. Presentations may or may not be made with the aid of technology. A good presentation conveys the right information to the right audience in the right manner, with or without technology. Learn the fundamentals of a good presentation, acquire the skill, practice frequently, and observe how your presentation would have the desired impact. 52. Work on your conversation skills. Conversations are the underpinnings of meetings. No meeting can be held without conversations. High-quality conversations can generate enthusiasm, buy-in, and results. Organized and controlled conversations can solve problems and build relationships. Where the conversations are weak, vitriolic, unstructured, and mismanaged, the meeting suffers. You can elevate the quality of a meeting by elevating the quality of the conversations at the meeting. A qualitative conversation is one that is managed, directed, strategic, positive, helpful, impactful, inspiring, and controlled. Being a better conversationalist is a must for excelling at meetings. 53. Work on your speaking skills. Speaking involves the quality of your pronunciations, your vocabulary repertoire, your diction, your pace of speaking, your command of the language, your tone of voice, and your delivery. Where you're unable to effectively convey your thoughts through your mouth, the reality is that you would be ineffective and quite powerless at meetings. Excellent content has been wrecked with poor speaking skills. It's through the art of speaking that you're able to inform and persuade at meetings. One sure way of improving your speaking skills is to take a course on effective speaking. Another way is to learn from speakers better than yourself through close study and observation. Also, reading aloud in your normal speaking voice, good books for 30 minutes or an hour every day would improve your speaking skills. Fran Lebowitz put it nicely by saying, "Think before you speak. Read before you think. The sequence is read, think, and speak." 54. Work on your note-taking skills. There are many levels of quality note-taking. If you want to get the best from meetings, enhance your note-taking skills. There are numerous note-taking methods. There's the Cornell method, the outlining method, the mapping method, the charting method, the sentence method, the sketch note method, and more. Each method has its advantages and disadvantages. Explore the methods on the internet to know which works best for you. You could also combine the methods. Better still, you could create your own method that gives you the most value for time spent at the meeting. 55. Create or request for the minutes. If the meeting has a secretary, request for the minutes and combine with your notes to guide and drive your subsequent post-meeting actions. If the meeting doesn't have a secretary, suggest that someone should play the role of secretary and record the minutes of the meeting. A meeting without a record is a meeting that did not happen. You can also nominate yourself and take full responsibility for taking the minutes of the meeting. The process of taking minutes would put you in a position to extract maximum value from the meeting and drive post-meeting actions and outcomes. 56. Create or request for action points. An action point is a deliverable arising from a meeting. As a meeting progresses, decisions are taken that create actions that need to be taken after the meeting. Record these actions and the specific timelines given for the completion of the actions, as well as the persons responsible for carrying out the actions. The recording and subsequent achievement of these actions arising from the meeting is necessary and is a healthy indicator that the meeting has been effective. 57. Have a positive tone. The morale during meetings must be kept high and positive. The chairman of the meeting and meeting participants must be positive in their overall disposition and communication. You should also have a positive disposition. Your voice, your body language, and your general attitude at the meetings must be pleasant and positive. Quality decisions, great ideas, and contagious commitment are products of a positive atmosphere created in meetings. The high morale must be sustained from the beginning of the meeting to the end. A negative meeting atmosphere kills the initiative, breeds distrust, and leads to a far less productive meeting than a meeting with a positive atmosphere. 58. Do not shout. Anyone present at a meeting is entitled to be spoken to with respect. Do not shout or raise your voice at anyone during meetings. Shouting is a mark of disrespect. Shouting is rude and unbecoming. Shouting is also barbaric and another form of cruelty and harassment. Many don't and should not take shouting very well. Avoid this and make it an inviolable ground rule for all your meetings that shouting at anyone in any form is prohibited. 59. Drink water or tea. Your body needs fluid. Your body needs fuel. Your body would fail you if you are not properly hydrated. Water is best. Tea, coffee, and soft drinks are second best. Avoid alcohol. Alcohol can make you do and say inappropriate things at the meeting that you would subsequently regret. Drink whatever you like after the meeting, but stick to water, tea, coffee, and soft drinks before and during serious meetings. 60. Come with your light refreshments. A meeting may or may not provide light refreshments. If light refreshments are not going to be provided, and the meeting is very likely to be a long one, bring your own refreshments. Tea or coffee in a flask, some biscuits, sandwich, sweets, gum, or whatever is appropriate would prove to be a lifesaver during the meeting. The point is to have something to eat or drink in the event that the meeting does not provide for it. Just a sip or a bite can elevate your energy level and keep you focused on extracting the best value from the meeting. Chapter 4. The final 10 tips. Until we meet again, may the good Lord take a liking to you. Roy Rogers. 61. Go digital. Go digital. Use technologies. Apply digital innovation to your meetings. From the elementary to the complex, there are new technologies that would reduce your cost and time, as well as improve the efficiency and effectiveness of your meetings. Virtual meetings, multiple-way audio conferencing, digital collaboration platforms and portals, meeting apps, meeting-specific digital tools, and more, if adopted, can transform your meetings. 62. Take responsibility for your deliverables. Effective meetings result in deliverables being created and assigned to someone for implementation within a reasonable time frame. Where these deliverables are not realized due to failure to take ownership, the meeting is negatively set back in terms of cost, energy, and time. Take your deliverables seriously. Create an aggressive personal action plan to deliver on your meeting assignments and advocate that everyone should have the same. 63. Come with your tools and resources. Don't come to a meeting and ask other participants or the chairman of the meeting for pen and paper. Don't come to a meeting without your meeting papers. Come prepared with all your tools and resources. It smacks of unseriousness where you're seen borrowing or sharing other people's tools and resources. Bring your minutes, meeting papers, reports, meeting packs, pen, paper, laptop, notebook, calculator, flash drive, iPad, etc., or whatever else you require to make the meeting effective for you. 64. Tell the truth. The worst place you can tell a lie or an untruth is at a meeting. Stick to the facts. Stick to the truth. You can give an incorrect opinion and get away with it, but do not tell an outright lie or try to mislead the meeting with untruths. If you tell a lie, you may be challenged and exposed. Also, if you tell a lie, those who know the truth may keep quiet and note in their minds that you are a liar and dishonest. They would also take whatever else you say with a pinch of salt. It's very difficult to be effective in meetings if you have a reputation for telling untruths. 65. Meetings are strategic tools for achieving objectives. A meeting is not a playground. It's a serious vehicle and platform for the achievement of intended objectives. Approach meetings with this perspective, and you would get the most out of every meeting you attend. Meetings can solve problems, create enterprises, launch new products, plan for the future, initiate and build lifetime relationships, resolve issues, stop wastage, mitigate risks, articulate strategies, enhance a career, and more. Meetings are undoubtedly significant. Approach meetings with the seriousness it deserves. 66. Use the flip chart to your advantage. The flip chart is a very powerful communication tool if you know how to use it. Flip charts are both a static display tool and a dynamic creation tool. When appropriate, the flip chart can be used to present information, visually explain issues, deconstruct complex discussions, generate and capture ideas, and refocus discussions. Try it. Ask for permission, and go to the flip chart and lead the meeting on an issue or discussion. One quick benefit is that you indirectly take charge of the meeting and provide direction using the medium of the flip chart. 67. Educate the meeting. Not everyone in a meeting is on the same level of knowledge as you or the other person. Education is a responsibility of the meeting participant. Generously provide the knowledge that would bring everyone to the same page. Half knowledge leads to half thinking, which leads to half contributions and half-baked decisions and results. A good decision, as Plato said, is based on knowledge. Knowledge, in turn, is hinged on education. The meeting must be educated on an issue in order for it to make informed decisions and take effective actions. 68. Inform the meeting. Over time, good decisions have been linked to satisfactory information. Meetings should therefore not take decisions without adequate information. One of the intended objectives of every meeting should be to take informed decisions. That is, decisions that are based on sufficient information presented to the meeting. It follows that where the information is lacking, weak, disjointed, substandard, unreliable, or unsatisfactory in any form, the decisions are unlikely to be spot on. Weak decisions arising from poor information can and should be avoided. In the absence of information, the discussions and decisions should be deferred until adequate information is made available. 69. Motivate the meeting. No one likes a meeting where the mood is pessimistic and the conversations are altogether negative. A pleasant, positive, and optimistic atmosphere helps meetings to be effective. The meeting leader and participants can influence the atmosphere with the right words and disposition. A meeting is unlikely to achieve the best from everyone where the mood is an unhappy one. Keep the meeting positive, keep the meeting upbeat, and keep the meeting alive. 70. Go paperless. The practice of flooding meetings with papers is dying. In most modern meetings, digital devices have taken over. The use of digital devices to conduct meetings, deliver presentations, as well as record meeting notes, handwriting, text, audio, and video, is becoming the norm. Going paperless is forward-looking and achieves high points for efficiency, effectiveness, and cost savings. Every individual and organization should recognize the times and put in place a personal or organizational framework for taking paper out of the equation towards having more results-oriented meetings. Chapter 5. Meeting Strategies of Top Executives. Everyone is a teacher. Everywhere is a school. Faluki K. Abdul Razak. From my experience of sitting on the boards of both private and blue-chip companies, it is fundamental to state that the prospects of excelling at any board meeting invariably depends on the competence and professionalism of the company's secretary, who is primarily responsible for the preparation and administrative management of board meetings. Firstly, to excel at board meetings as a director, one must be well prepared. I carefully peruse the board meeting pack, which contains the agenda, minutes of meetings, and board memos. The preparation of notes, highlighting areas of interest, and articulating my observations before meetings are absolutely key to active participation. I endeavor to arrive early and be well settled in before the commencement of meetings. Secondly, during meetings, it is pertinent to pay full attention to all presentations in order not only to grasp the points of view of other directors, but also to avoid repetition when making contributions. Directors' contributions at meetings should be brief and straight to the point. My comments are usually focused, but not limited to my areas of competence and experience. It is helpful to offer constructive criticism, but ensure that you proffer solutions as well. On occasions when I preside over meetings as chairperson, I first allow for the comments and observations of my co-directors before advancing mine. This enriches my comments, enables board resolutions through consensus, and allows members to take ownership of the company. I will not allow meetings to drag on endlessly, thereby becoming boring to the extent that members become disinterested and distracted. Finally, I never go to a meeting and leave without uttering a word, as it is a sign of unpreparedness and lack of interest. A board appointment is not only an honor, but also carries duties and responsibilities which must be discharged effectively. Binite Abuyade Ko. My three key strategies for succeeding at meetings would revolve around preparation, meeting time, and participation. On preparation, a well-spelled-out agenda of items to be discussed should be drawn up before the meeting and followed almost to the letter during the meeting. Practically nothing, in my opinion, helps to successfully organize a meeting than a well-put-together agenda. Secondly, on meeting time, the meeting must start at the agreed time, regardless of whether or not everyone invited to the meeting is present. The discussions at the meeting should also be very well managed, with a watchful eye on the time being spent. Punctuality, as has been said again and again, is the soul of business. Good meetings should start and end on time. Finally, on participation, everyone present at the meeting should be encouraged to make meaningful contributions. One person's simple remarks, comments, or suggestions can bring about a spot-on resolution to a tough challenge. Yinka Ayigtibo. As a consultant specializing in project management and business analysis, I spend a significant amount of my time organizing and attending meetings. Still, I recognize that I'm not a meetings expert and that most of the time I'm constrained by the culture of the client I'm working with. Within these limitations, however, I do try to adopt the following practices. Before the meeting, having established my clear meeting objectives, I customarily send out an agenda to all meeting participants. If for some reason I'm unable to send the agenda out, it would be the first thing I present at the meeting. The agenda includes both meeting management items and functional items that have time limits. Meeting management agenda items include introductions, capturing expectations, reviewing expectations, and appraising the meeting, i.e., an assessment of what was good and bad about the meeting. As the meeting commences, and once the introductions, if necessary, are concluded, I ask the meeting participants for their expectations of the meeting. In other words, what specifically is each participant expecting to get out from the meeting? All expectations would be captured on a flip chart or something similar. The name of the participant would also be recorded against the expectation. During the meeting, I try to keep to the time assigned to each item on the agenda. More often than not, one or more of the items on the agenda takes more than the allotted time. This is not unusual. As a rule, issues that are raised which are not directly related to the agenda or matters for discussion at the meeting are placed in a parking lot and captured for all to see on the flip chart board. Firstly, this helps to keep the meeting focused on the agenda items. Secondly, the parking lot acknowledges important points raised by attendees, but does not allow the point to disrupt the flow of the meeting. I always ensure that adequate meeting notes are taken. The meeting notes would include decisions and next steps or follow-up actions. Next steps and follow-up actions should include a description of the action, the name of the accountable owner of the action, and a due date for the action to be completed. The meeting notes are sent out within 24 hours of the completion of the meeting to all the invitees, not just attendees. Before closing the meeting, once all the other items on the agenda have been adequately covered, I conclude by examining the expectations earlier recorded at the beginning of the meeting. I check with the person who provided the expectation to confirm if his or her expectation has been met or exceeded, and take it from there. I also bring up the items that have been placed in the parking lot. These items could be treated at the meeting or scheduled for consideration at a subsequent meeting. By the way, if I'm invited to a meeting, I always request for an agenda if it's not included in the meeting invitation. If it's not obvious why my presence is required at a meeting, I always ask the organizer why I've been invited to the meeting. The reason I do this is to put me in a position to be prepared, and this applies to almost everything in life. The Boy Scout motto, "Be prepared," never fails. A biome akin today. I would say that the golden rule is always to be 100% prepared for any meeting, but you could split that up into the following points. 1. Speak to your client before the meeting to understand what their main concerns and objectives are. What questions do they want to have answered at the meeting? Ask how much time your client has for the meeting, remembering that their time is as valuable, if not more valuable, than yours. 2. Think about these questions and have a number of answers ready for the meeting. Also, think about your own objectives. What do you want? What answers do you want to come away with after the meeting? 3. Prepare an agenda and circulate it. Be clear about who is to lead the meeting. If it is you, make sure the timings are adhered to and all agenda items are covered. 4. If it's an internal meeting, do not hesitate to leave before the end if what is being discussed is not relevant to you and you have nothing to contribute. Your organizational meeting culture needs to allow for that. 5. Send a follow-up email to all participants summarizing action points and decisions made, and say when the next meeting or interaction will take place. You should make notes after the meeting for future reference. If a colleague has prepared minutes, add your own comments to them afterwards. Angela Oneke. In 2010, I wrote the following paragraph in a book titled The Power of Vision, Insights on Tony Elumelu, as my contribution to an anthology of various articles written by friends, associates, colleagues, and family on the retirement of Tony O. Elumelu, C-O-N, T-O-E, as the Chief Executive Officer of United Bank for Africa, PLC, in July 2010, as a tribute to his success and achievement. It is impossible to work directly with TOE without meetings. Meetings are the platform through which his management by consensus style plays out. It is also through meetings that he, TOE, energizes the organization. I have since, under TOE's tutelage, learned and come to appreciate the value and realize the importance of meetings in building institutions the TOE way, whether it's on a day-to-day basis as part of executive management or at periodic meetings of the board of directors. So, in this contribution, I'll pen down what I've learned from this maestro of meetings and have tried to adopt as my personal strategies, as I have seen them work time and time again. Let me start by defining meetings, as captured by Wikipedia. A meeting is a gathering of two or more people that has been convened for the purpose of achieving a common goal through verbal interaction, such as sharing information or reaching agreement. Meetings may occur face-to-face, or such as a telephone conference call, a Skype conference call, or a video conference. So, the bottom line for convening a meeting is to achieve a common goal. Results are what differentiate an effective leader from an ineffective leader. So, how does one convene and conduct an effective meeting in such a way as to achieve results? 1. Start with an agenda. Every meeting must have an agenda. A well-crafted agenda will ensure the meeting achieves its desired results. For a board of directors meeting, the agenda is set by the chairman of the board, or there's a standard template captured in the board charter. 2. Have the goal in mind. What do we want to achieve at the end of a meeting? What is the objective of the meeting? Remember that for meetings to be effective, there must be results. 3. Who should chair the meeting? The chairman is a key role in conducting a meeting, be it a management meeting or a meeting of the board of directors. I found this to be a critical role, and the effectiveness of this person determines the success or failure of a meeting. Group dynamics play a key role in meetings, and the personal attributes, knowledge, competence, interpersonal skills, communication, leadership style, etc. of the chairman come into play. 4. Who are the participants? Who should be at the meeting? Recognize that ideas can come from anyone. Not only those who have direct involvement in the issues to be discussed necessarily have to be at the meeting. Draw participation from across the organization and across hierarchy. 5. Be prepared. To contribute to a meeting, whether as a participant or the leader, you need to be prepared for the meeting. This is even more critical if you're on the board of directors of an institution. One cannot overemphasize the importance of the role of the board of directors in institution building. The buck stops with you, so ensure that you have thoroughly reviewed your board pack ahead of the meeting. 6. Draw participation from all participants. Invite all participants to contribute to the meeting, especially those that are quiet. 7. Listen to other participants at the meeting. As the Bible says, be slow to speak and quick to listen. This is so important. 8. Debate. Debate issues rigorously. Submit to superior opinions. 9. Write down. Pen down your thoughts while the debate is going on so you don't lose your thoughts, and more importantly, so you articulate your thoughts in a clear manner. 10. Be flexible. Be flexible on your position and be willing to embrace perspectives of others, but avoid groupthink. 11. Consensus building. Seek to build consensus at the meeting. Consensus is not 100% unanimity. 12. Decision making. Reach a decision based on the information that's been shared. 13. Own the decision. When the decision is reached, regardless of what your opinion was coming into the meeting, own it. 14. Minutes and next steps. Accurately capture the decisions reached and next steps and disseminate to participants. Next steps should state who will do what by when. To ensure execution of the decision reached, assign follow-ups to someone who is execution-oriented. Clearly, for a meeting of the board of directors, the company's secretary is that person and should capture this in the minutes and matters arising. Over time, I've done some research on these learning points and shared my insights at various fora. Let me conclude with a quote that resonates with me and reflects the benefits of meetings the TOE way. The amount of meetings I've been in, people would be shocked. But that's how you gain experience, how you gain knowledge. Being in meetings and participating, you learn and grow. Tiger Woods. Owenari Duke. Here in summary are a few of the strategies I employ and advocate for having very effective meetings. 1. Preparation. Preparation and more preparation. You cannot be too prepared for meetings. This is the primary way you can add or receive value from meetings and thereby make the meeting effective. 2. Predetermine matters for discussion at the meeting. This is another way of saying that you should have an agenda for the meeting in order to make it effective. 3. Source and secure adequate information about the matters to be deliberated on at the meeting. The focus of the research, if I can call it that, is to be informed on the matters to be discussed, as well as other related matters from which inferences or inspiration for solutions can be drawn. This strategy puts you and the meeting in a position to take informed decisions. Another point, which is related to this, is that the meeting should be provided with adequate information on the matters to be considered. The meeting can take this further by insisting that any matter with little or no information should be deferred until adequate information is provided. 4. Reasonable notice of the meeting should be given to the attendees. This is to give attendees sufficient time to prepare for the meeting so that value would be added with enriched individual contributions. Secondly, it ensures that full attendance is achieved, as adequate notice enables attendees to accommodate the meeting date and time into their already busy and unaccommodating schedules. Reminder of the meetings should also be periodically sent to attendees in order to achieve 100% attendance. Finally, some ground rules are very important for effective meetings. The chairman of the meeting and attendees should endeavor to create an atmosphere where everyone is encouraged to speak confidently without the fear of being made to look unwise. There must be mutual respect, and the tone of voice used should be polite and cordial. No one should be disrespectful at meetings or be spoken to in a condescending manner. All should be treated with respect. This rule applies in and out of meetings. Adenike Fashanya or Shilaja. I follow 3 key strategies for excelling at meetings. First, I am the audience. For every meeting, I put myself in the shoes of the other participants and try to determine what I would want to hear if I was them. I do my best to tailor my contributions to the needs of the audience and to honor their time and commitment in attending. It is therefore my goal to present the best me that I can and to be a net positive addition to the meeting. Secondly, would my grandmother understand what I'm saying? I tailor my grammar to the level of the least literate person in the room. I consider it a sign of utmost snobbery when meeting participants speak at their highest level of grammatical sophistry without consideration for their audience. I believe that the person who is best able to connect to the audience is the person who is most honest, open, and uncomplicated in their conversation, and this can enhance or detract from the achievements projected for the meeting. Third, every meeting is a presentation. I treat every meeting as a customer sales presentation that I have to be ready for. Every conversation we have in life is technically a sales pitch, whether we're speaking at a corporate meeting or to our spouse. I will usually have an outline of the topics I'm involved with and try to keep my contributions short. I'm really working on this. To this end, I try to ensure that I attain a level of expertise in any of my chosen fields and to keep updated on all current developments as they happen. Joe C. Keshi, OON. I believe in holding well-structured and disciplined meetings. To achieve this, I always try to ensure the following. First, time must be properly managed. Meetings should start and end as stated in the agenda. The meeting should be focused and discussions proficiently kept on track. I always discourage participants from repeating what others have said. This not only saves time, but encourages and helps to generate new ideas and solutions to issues under discussion. It is equally a measure of respect for others at the meeting, as it offers everyone the opportunity to contribute to the discussion. Second, set the clear tone of the meeting from the outset and lay down the ground rules, which begins with agreeing on the agenda and keeping to the agenda. Third, intermittently summarize the discussions and decisions. This ensures that there is a general agreement and no misunderstanding as to what was agreed upon, including the delegation of specific time-bound tasks. This is also helpful to the secretary of the meeting or anyone tasked with taking meeting notes. Felix Oduoza. Focus at meetings is important. I try, as much as possible, to ensure that the attention of everyone present in the meeting is focused on the agenda and discussions by removing any form of distractions, such as mobile phones, iPads, laptops, etc., so that everybody is fully engaged in the meeting and takes part in the discussions. This also helps to ensure that when the discussions or decisions are communicated, there is buy-in and no question as to the accuracy of the communication. I also like to conduct a recap of key decisions taken at the meeting. At the end of the meeting or the discussion of a major item, a summary of the key items is given so that there's no doubt as to the resolutions. This also ensures that there's a common understanding by everybody and helps avoid individual interpretation. The key issue related to focus is ensuring full concentration of all participants at meetings through the use of intermittent questions. Random questions are thrown intermittently to participants in a meeting, such as, "What do you think about this issue?" Or, "What are the key challenges or solutions from the last contribution?" As a result, everyone pays full attention, as they can be specifically called upon to address an issue that's being discussed. Another meeting strategy is to avoid side discussions. I discourage side discussions and comments at my meetings. If you have any views, comments, or contributions to make, it should be shared with everyone at the meeting. Side discussions distract meetings. Also, good meetings should not have people talking at random and at cross purposes. Meeting participants should make their contributions one at a time so that every person is listened to, whoever has the floor. There are various ways to achieve orderly contributions, such as assigning turns or numbers to the people who want to speak in advance, or just moving from one person to the other and ensuring that it is only one person that is speaking at any particular point in time. I also encourage and implement the best practice of circulation of the meeting agenda and reports for discussions well in advance of the meeting, so that every person is familiar with whatever subject that is to be presented and discussed. I also try to reduce or restrict the number of new items that are introduced to the meeting. These items have to wait for the next meeting, except where they are extremely urgent. I take extensive notes at meetings. Discussions and decisions that are not properly captured would be lost and not acted upon. I also ensure that these copious notes are properly filed for record and reference purposes. I have notepads with notes of meetings taken over 7 years ago. I also use my notes to clearly summarize my understanding of the discussions and decisions at the meeting. My notes are extremely helpful in aiding my follow-up with the action owners on the assigned responsibilities long after the meeting is over. Finally, in order to achieve the decisions of the meeting, I ensure that responsibilities for implementation are clearly assigned to the action owners. I must be clear in my mind as to who is responsible for what particular action and give specific deadlines for execution. I thus ensure that there is adequate follow-up before and at the next meeting to ensure implementation. Nnamdi Okonkwo. What follows is my personal approach to effective meetings. If I'm the leader of the team, I first let my colleagues know at the outset my strategies and rules for effective meetings. This way, expectations are clearly understood. My main strategies and rules are outlined below. Share the meeting agenda and objectives up front to aid preparation. Agree latest time by which the meeting materials must reach all participants. For instance, all papers and presentations must be received at least 48 hours before the meeting. This way, the meeting will effectively focus on discussing the contents of the papers and presentations rather than spending lengthy hours listening to presentations. The participants, of course, would have been informed beforehand that they are expected to have read all the papers and prepared extensively with questions, comments, and suggestions for matters to be discussed. It also helps to communicate some additional rules before the commencement of the meeting. Rules such as all phones must be switched off or put on silent mode without vibration. The meeting will take 5 to 10-minute stretch breaks after every 1 or 2 hours to enable meeting participants to make important phone calls. Contributions or questions are managed by asking for a show of hands, during which the chairman of the meeting assigns numbers to speakers before they start. The idea is to eliminate disorder or people who were previously not paying attention from suddenly remembering something and asking to be allowed to speak. It also limits the commenting on comments syndrome, which could go on and derail the meeting. After each discussion on a subject matter, the chairman should summarize the discussions and ask for confirmation from the meeting participants so that the secretary captures the minutes appropriately. The meeting must thereafter have an action plan that records in tabular format the following: issue, responsibility, deadline, status. This action plan would be circulated to all meeting attendees and would aid follow-up action, accountability, and more importantly, execution. Rose Okwechime. What follows are a few of my most cherished strategies that have helped me very well over the years to succeed at meetings. First, and top of my list, is the simple but not easy habit of being punctual at all meetings. Being punctual, in my view, expresses the importance you attach to the meeting. Arriving well ahead before the meeting commences gives me ample time to unhurriedly settle down and further organize my thoughts on the matters for discussion. Arriving early also affords me the time to study and constructively engage others who are attending the meeting, exchange pleasantries, and possibly assess the likely direction of discussions. Unpunctuality is a no-go area for me. On those rare occasions when I step into a meeting that has already commenced, I find that my late arrival unfairly disrupts the meeting. Also, I can feel the eyes of everyone focused on me, no matter how quietly I try to tiptoe into the meeting room. It's even worse if I'm on the high table. For coming late, I have sadly lost all the opportunities and gains of being punctual. When I'm late and the meeting is started, I make sure that I apologize for my late arrival as soon as I get an opportunity, as long as it does not further disrupt the meeting. Avoid unpunctuality, as it attracts no commendations. Secondly, I prudently study the meeting papers, no matter how enormous, and they usually are, and how much or little time I have to go through them all. If I'm pressed for time, I adopt the shortcut method of quickly going through the agenda, the minutes, and the matters arising from the previous meetings. I would thereafter pick the most important topics and study them. It is always important that you thoroughly review the meeting papers. I endeavor to give good quality time to this necessary pre-meeting phase. It's not always required that you must ask questions or make a speech at the meeting, but it is very important that you follow the matters being discussed and evaluate everyone's contributions at the meeting in the light of your pre-meeting preparation. Another point on this, as an aside, if one really wishes to speak, raise your hand till you're invited to speak and make your remarks brief and to the point. Third, I take copious notes on important matters so that during question time, I can easily refer to my detailed notes to ask and seek further clarification to questions and comments that I have. I only speak on points in my note that have not been raised or addressed by others. My rule is, If the important topics have been addressed by others, please keep your peace. My notes also serve as my personal record for future reference purposes. I also take notes so that if I am personally called upon to address a particular topic, it would serve as my aid as I make my contribution in a structured manner. In closing, I need not say that I must be dressed impeccably for every meeting. My rule on this is, you must have a distinct dress code for every type of meeting. The type of meeting, formal or informal, religious or non-religious, business or non-business, etc., would invariably dictate the appropriate appearance. Strive to look professional and responsible, and you would get it right all the time. Adekunle Olumide, OON. I'm pleased to share with you 3 strategies that have assisted me in chairing successful meetings over the period. 1. Careful preparation. Based on experience, I found that one of the key prerequisites for a successful meeting is the careful preparation of background documents or working papers relevant to the agenda of the meeting and circulating them in advance to all participants. This basic requirement cannot be overemphasized as a huge success factor in meetings, as it ensures that discussions are better informed and incisive, while reasoned decisions are reached within a short time span. It's for this reason that I have always insisted that preparative, informative documentation should, as far as possible, be provided in advance to participants to facilitate successful meetings. 2. Flexibility and time management. In steering meetings, I've endeavored to be patient and flexible to enable all participants to express their viewpoints on all relevant items, while paying attention to prudent time management. This strategy ensures that deliberations are wide-ranging, analytical, and inclusive, while decisions are rich, solid, and more satisfactory. However, while I allow all participants to air their views freely, I also appeal to them to avoid repeating themselves or digressing too often from the subject under discussion, so that the meeting is focused and concluded within a reasonable time frame. It's commonplace to see some frustrated participants leave poorly managed meetings for other engagements on the score of their time being wasted at unduly long meetings. 3. Periodic summary of deliberations at the meetings. One of the effective strategies that I've adopted in conducting successful meetings is the timely provision of the summary of deliberations on each item once the emerging consensus or majority position is clear-cut. This enables the meeting to be better focused and acceptable conclusions arrived at without unduly prolonging the discussions or allowing uncertainty to creep in. This approach also assists in the preparation of accurate minutes of the meetings. Tunji Oyebanji. These are a few of my thoughts on meetings. The first question I ask myself about meetings is, do I really need a meeting to resolve the issue or issues at hand? If my answer is yes, and I truly need to have a meeting, it is essential that an agenda is prepared before the meeting takes place. In other words, no agenda, no meeting. Finally, when the meeting is in progress, I do not allow a few people to dominate the meeting. I also make sure that everyone at the meeting, especially the reserved individuals, are encouraged to advance their views, and in particular, I ensure that no one is shouted down at the meeting. Kunle Oyegade. One personal strategy for excelling at meetings that easily comes to mind is the practice of actively listening and hearing others at meetings. A common problem I've observed is that everybody comes to the meeting with their viewpoint, and this chronically stands in the way and prevents them from really hearing and understanding what the other person is saying. You may hear what they're saying, but not hear the message they're trying to communicate. So, at meetings, we must listen to hear others and gain understanding before we advance our views. This advice is similar to one of the 7 habits of highly effective people advocated by Stephen Covey, namely, seek first to understand before being understood. The habit would serve you very well at meetings. Kennedy Uzoka. Over the years, I've been part of countless formal and informal meetings in various capacities, and I'm happy to share my thoughts on a few essentials for making meetings successful. I do like to set and/or see the agenda for a meeting well ahead of time. Where I've fully managed the scope of the meeting, I set out items which must be addressed by the meeting. I simply do not like to call for meetings just for the sake of coming together. I like to set key, achievable objectives and goals, separated into specific items on the agenda, with relevant executives informed to prepare and lead discussions on each item as appropriate. Setting the agenda, as outlined above, usually enables me to carefully go through each item on the agenda. It affords me the useful opportunity to picture the general direction of discussions, have a fair idea where the meeting will achieve the set objectives, and more importantly, forces me to prepare and note my indicative position on the issues. At the meeting, I may be persuaded to reach other conclusions based on superior ideas or views from the participants. However, I've discovered that for effectiveness, it is always advantageous to carefully articulate one's thoughts on the issues, especially at the agenda-setting stage, well before the meeting starts. It is essential to allow meeting participants to make their contributions first before expressing your views, especially if you are chairing the meeting. This ensures that as the presiding officer, especially where you carry a certain level of authority, you are able to avoid confirmation bias. That's the tendency for the meeting participants to quickly align with your position, thereby ignoring or drowning out differing and perhaps better ideas. The success of any meeting is heavily dependent on the quality of ideas generated by the people present. It is therefore essential to invite the right people to a meeting based on the set agenda. This will not only assure quality deliberations and decisions, but also engender ownership of the decisions. It also makes it easier for those assigned with execution of action items to accept decisions as collective and binding. Lastly, I have observed that most successful meetings happen when participants are notified in good time. It is important to advise participants of relevant details, the content, as well as expectations of the meeting in advance, to enable them to prepare adequately. Meetings should also be uncompromising with time management to ensure focus and to keep enthusiasm and participation levels positively consistent throughout.